Hey everyone, this is Paul from I Suck at Gaming. I am broadcasting from the damp gaming dungeon, and there was a request for me to run through a quick guide regarding binds. And so I did a little bit of research. I'm currently set up to run a couple of binds with this particular character, one of which is a taunt, and the other one which is a short combat teleport. And I'll show you how I set those up. But the idea behind them is pretty simple. Instead of having to hit certain keys or combinations of keys for things, I actually have it set up so that I can use my mouse. Say, for instance, here's my taunt. I have it set up for button number 5 on my mouse. It hits a taunt for it. And I don't have to lift my hand up off of the keyboard at all. Pretty handy. And the other one I have is Combat Teleport. And you can kind of see how that goes. That's button number 4 for me. And I can pop around relatively quickly, which is very handy for me when I'm in granite form. So how did I do these? You can kind of see the advantage, hopefully, of why I did them. But let's take a look. So the main idea, for me at least, is to find a way to do things in a way that doesn't have to have me lift and target, especially in combat. So for me, what I had actually done is, let me pull it up here. And all of this information originally came from let me see if I can find the actual source here. All right, the original information came from the Incomplete and Unofficial Guide to Binds by Curveball. I will put the link in the description so you can look it up yourself. It is incomplete, but it is still comprehensive. And the idea behind it, let me open up my notepad for you guys to see, is basically we're creating a set of commands that allows us to, first of all, let me make sure that my notepad's open. Yes, it is. That we can actually do a command by typing a combination of different things in and then having it linked to a set of keystrokes or a keystroke or something similar to that. So for me, what I did is I ended up doing a bind. In this case, it was button 4 or button 5, I'm sorry. And then it was lowercase, pow, exec, name, and then the skill that it is. In this case, it was taunt. So what I did was this, and then I went and basically highlighted this, went back and dumped it into my chat. It went ahead and linked those two things for me. Hopefully it should still work. Let me double check. Still does. So if I want to change that now, so say instead of just doing a taunt, I could actually attach some sort of dialogue to it as well. All right, so if I wanted to actually do this where I could combine, say, the action and local text, I could do that as well. Let me go and pull this up again. And instead of just doing the bind button 5 and then the power name, I could say what I wanted to say. Get over here and then do the power itself. Let's see if that actually works for us. Notepad, drop that back down over here. Okay, same exact thing, right? Let's go ahead and see if that makes any difference regarding what happens here. So pretty straightforward, right? Now you can link two files together or two commands together, or more actually, by doing the combination things. Now what happens is the game sees those things as happening basically simultaneously. So you couldn't like link a whole bunch of attacks together. You just couldn't, because one would overwrite the next. but you could say do a travel power. Say you could activate sprint or hover or flight or super speed or deactivate super speed, but remember that's going to be a toggle. So if you currently have it on, it will turn it off. So it's one of those things I don't get too involved in. The masterminds have got a very extensive set of binds and macros that they can use that are actually useful regarding, say, moving individual sets of pets or individual pets themselves. I usually set it up using the keypad. I'm not going to get into that today. Also, the Chaldeans have got a great set of different things that allow you to, first of all, change form and then activate whatever power bar works for that form. And again, that's kind of beyond the scope today. Just want to talk a little bit about the powers themselves. Now, what is a macro, right? We actually have been going through a bit of macro stuff. And macros are basically, instead of binding it to a key or a mouse button or something similar, you create the trigger as a button, right? So instead of doing what I'm doing for bind, I could actually set this up. Let me pop back the notepad. I could do a macro, right? I could do a macro button 5. Wait, no. Macro. And this should be the name of it. Let's say taunt. Local. Get over here. I could probably have copied that. That's all right. All right, so that's set to macro. And what's going to be on there is the word taunt for the button. You don't want to get too involved regarding the titles for these because you're kind of limited to the size of the actual button itself that you're creating. And let's go ahead and do that. All right, so down here, let me shrink down my notepad again. Down here on the right side, you see I created a taunt button. That is what the macro does. Basically, it's a way of combining things. If you want to, say, customize all of your powers and be that guy, you could definitely do it. Where you could assign text and a power to it. And there's, I just clicked the power. So if you've been following along in regards to the zone exploration badges, that series, that's all setting up macros, and those macros are basically setting up menu options. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy. My recommendation is to just go ahead and play with it. If you end up with a problem, say you don't like certain things that are happening regarding your binds, I believe there's an option you can clear it. All right, so if you had a macro that you didn't want to have or you wanted to redo, or that's messing up in some way, you can do a /unbind and then the key or button that you're actually using to do that action. So if I didn't like what was happening with my button 5, my thumb button for taunting, I could do a /unbind space and then button 5, in this case all caps, and that will tell you the information, or that will remove that bind from that key, and then you can reset it or something similar. What I'll do is in the description here, I'll include all of the most popular locations for the binds as part of the description, as well as a link to the file for the keybinds. It's very, very cool to be able to customize those things. For me, it's essential because I kind of run out of fingers after about 4. And if I can automate some things, especially things that have to happen immediately, like taunt or teleport if I'm in granite form, that is a godsend. And I am all for it. So anyhow, I hope this helps. Anybody have any really cool macros that they want to put in or to talk about that are very useful in the game, drop them in the comments. Share them, share the wealth. We are a sharing and global community regarding these things, and there are no secrets. So the better you guys can play, the better off we can all team together and get things taken care of. But there will be in the future a more in-depth description regarding macros and keybinds for masterminds and Chaldeans. Hopefully those will help as well. I play a bunch of masterminds, a bunch of masterminds, and I have, I think, just 2 Chaldeans. I may have to default to some of my cohorts regarding the best ones to run, but I can give you a run through of the basics there as well. Look forward to those in a future video, probably on a Thursday of some sort, and we'll continue our exploration badges on Tuesdays and live streaming on Friday and Saturday. Hope to see you guys out there. Have a great afternoon, and have a great rest of the week.